You can perform 10,000 crunches every single day. You can attempt to starve yourself by consuming nothing but celery sticks and water. You can even run until your feet begin to bleed. Despite all that effort, you will not lose that belly. Why? Because you are fighting the wrong enemy. Most people operate under the assumption that belly fat is just fat, simply stored energy. That is incorrect. What if I told you that the belly fat you can actually pinch, that jiggly material right under your skin, is essentially harmless? The real problem is something you cannot pinch. It is a hidden, parasitic tissue buried deep within your torso, strangling your liver, choking your pancreas, and destroying your heart. It is called visceral fat. Here is the frightening part. You can be skinny everywhere else, your arms, your legs, and your face, and still harbor a dangerous amount of this substance packed inside you. It is a condition known as TOFI, thin on the outside, fat on the inside. It is arguably more hazardous than being clinically obese. However, I have some good news. While visceral fat is the most dangerous fat in your body, it is also the easiest to burn off, provided you know the biological combination code to unlock it. In this video, I am going to reveal that code to you. I am going to break down a specific Japanese protocol involving a certain pigment found in vegetables, a specific compound in tea, and a 75% rule for movement that was shown to slash visceral fat by 48% in just 2 months. So, put down the weights, stop the crunches, and just listen to me. Let's turn your metabolism upside down for a moment. To understand how to eliminate this, you must first understand what it is. Visceral fat is not like the fat on your arm. The fat on your arm is subcutaneous. It is passive storage that sits there like a savings account. Visceral fat, however, is biologically active. It functions more like a gland than fat. It secretes inflammatory chemicals, disrupts your hormones, and drives insulin resistance. Think of visceral fat like a parasite. It latches onto your vital organs, your liver, your stomach, and your pancreas, and it feeds off your inflammation. So how do you know if you have it? Here is the symptom check. Stand up and poke your stomach. If your belly is soft, squishy and jiggly, that is mostly subcutaneous fat. That is the vanity fat. But if your belly sticks out like you swallowed a basketball, and it feels hard, solid, firm and protruding, that is visceral fat. That firmness is the pressure of the fat pushing out against your abdominal wall from the inside. That is your liver screaming for help. So how do we kill the parasite? We need a 3-step attack. We need to cut off its food supply, block its enzymes, and then burn it out. Step 1 involves your diet. But I am not going to tell you to just eat vegetables. That is boring and not specific enough. We need to target the root cause of visceral fat. What causes it? It is usually an excess of energy that leads to oxidative stress. Imagine your cells are like a car engine. When an engine runs too hot for too long, it starts to rust. That rust is oxidative stress. Visceral fat loves that rust. It thrives on it. To kill the fat, we need to scrape off the rust. The most powerful rust remover in the natural world comes from a specific family of compounds called carotenoids. Carotenoids are the pigments that give plants their color. It is the orange in a carrot, the red in a tomato, and the deep green in spinach. I found a fascinating double-blind study out of Japan, where they took a group of people and simply increased their intake of carotenoid-rich vegetables, specifically carrots and cabbage, for just 8 weeks. Here is what happened. The carotenoids acted like a shield. They neutralized the free radicals, those unstable molecules damaging your cells, and they actually flipped a genetic switch. They turned on the genes that burn fat and turned off the genes that store fat. The result was a significant reduction in visceral fat just by adding color to the diet. Here is your protocol. You need to eat the rainbow, but not the candy version. I am talking about sweet potatoes, bell peppers, spinach, squash, and carrots. If the food is beige, like bread, pasta, or crackers, it is feeding the parasite. If the food is vibrant orange, red, or green, it is killing it. It is that simple. Now let's talk about what you are drinking. There is a specific drink that acts like a key for your fat cells. You have probably heard that green tea burns fat and might think it is just a myth. It is not a myth, but you have to understand why it works so you don't mess it up. Green tea is loaded with a polyphenol called catechins. The specific one we care about is EGCG. Think of your fat cells as having a front door that is usually locked. Catechins help pick that lock. They stimulate your nervous system to boost fat oxidation. But they do something else. They also inhibit an enzyme called lipase. Lipase is the enzyme that breaks down dietary fat so your body can absorb it. When you drink green tea rich in catechins, you are basically putting a bouncer at the door of your gut, saying, "No, we aren't letting all this fat in." Another randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial showed that drinking catechin-enriched green tea for 12 weeks reduced visceral fat significantly. But here is the warning. You cannot just buy sugary bottled green tea. That is sugar water and will make your liver worse. You want matcha or sencha tea because you are consuming the whole leaf, which means a massive dose of catechins. There is a synergy here. The caffeine in the tea works with the catechins to accelerate the effect. The caffeine revs the engine, and the catechins unlock the fuel tank. Now we get to the most important part. Movement. Diet is great for total weight loss, but studies show that while diet shrinks the whole body, exercise is the laser-guided missile for visceral fat. What kind of exercise do you need? You don't need to run marathons. That might raise your cortisol and make it worse. You don't necessarily need to be a powerlifter. A meta-analysis involving 117 different studies, along with a specific older study, looked at a very precise protocol. In this study, participants cycled for 45 minutes just 2 times a week at a specific intensity, 75% of their VO2 peak. After 2 months, they didn't lose much weight on the scale, but their visceral fat dropped by 48%. Almost half of their deadly belly fat was gone in 2 months, with just 2 sessions a week. They also improved their insulin sensitivity by 41%, essentially reversing prediabetes. What is 75% intensity? You don't need a lab coat to figure this out. You just need the talk test. If you are walking and can sing a song perfectly, that is too easy. If you are sprinting and feel like you are going to vomit and cannot speak a word, that is too hard. You want the sweet spot in the middle. You are at the right intensity when you can speak in full sentences, but you sound a little winded, like you just walked up a few flights of stairs. You can talk, but you would rather not. That is the zone where the magic happens for visceral fat. I must warn you about a trap. When people want to lose belly fat, their instinct is to starve themselves. They cut calories to 500 a day or do 1 meal a day improperly. Data shows that calorie restriction hits a wall because your metabolism slows down to protect you. Your body thinks it is starving, so it holds onto the fat. Exercise is different. A study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that exercise has a dose-dependent response for visceral fat. The more you do, the more you lose, with no upper limit found. It doesn't plateau the way dieting does. The strategy is not to starve yourself. You want to eat enough nutrient-dense food, the carotenoids and proteins, to fuel your body and then use movement to create the deficit. Let's put this into a plan starting tomorrow. Step 1. The scavenger hunt. If your plate is brown, put it down. Add 1 serving of a deeply colored vegetable to every meal, This is your shield. Step 2. The liquid key. Swap your second coffee for a matcha green tea without sugar. You are inhibiting that lipase enzyme. Step 3. The 75% solution. You need cardio. Aim for 3 to 4 sessions a week, 45 minutes long. Whether you cycle, run, or walk up a steep hill, just use the talk test. If you aren't slightly out of breath, you aren't burning the belly. Consistency beats intensity. The best exercise is the one you will actually do 3 months from now. Visceral fat is the driver of almost every chronic disease, but your body is resilient. It wants to heal. It just needs the right signal. Stop starving it, start fueling it with the right pigments, and start moving at the right pace. If this protocol changes the way you look at the health of your body and the food on your plate, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the biological truths that have been hidden for far too long. Let's build a healthier future together. The next breakthrough is coming soon.